Hello, welcome back. I'm Darren and we're in the shop with a Lincoln. This is a 2002 Lincoln LS and it's here because it has a little bit of a noise in the top of the cylinder head. But luckily, we know what's wrong and Shawn is going to show you how to diagnose and fix your timing chain tensioner. But first, let's take a little bit of a look at the history of the Lincoln LS models.
The Lincoln LS is a 4-door, 5-passenger luxury sedan that's manufactured by the Lincoln division of the Ford Motor Company. The LS shared Ford's Do 98 platform, along with the Jag S-Type and the Ford Thunderbird. This went on to later evolve into the Ford S197 Mustang chassis. The 2002 Lincoln LS featured a 3.9-liter dual overhead cam engine. It made 252 horsepower and 267 foot-pounds of torque. This was coupled to a 5R55 automatic transmission. Styling was excellent. We can clearly see the European features in this vehicle. It was meant to compete with contemporary BMW and Mercedes designs. Inside is complete leather treatment with faux wood grain and a lot of cool gadgets for the era. All these things are now standard, but in 2002, this car really felt ahead of its time. After a rather short production run and waning sales, this vehicle was eventually phased out in favor of the Taurus-based front-wheel drive designs. Subsequently, prices are reducing on these cars, and they can be picked up for not a lot of money. This model here is a little rough here or there, but still has lots of good life and is really a way to ball it on a budget. This Lincoln LS was purchased with a tapping noise from underneath the valve cover. This is usually indicative of a problem with the timing set. Shawn and I explored under hood after moving some things out of the way, and once we got the valve cover off, it was very plain that the timing chain tensioner for the exhaust cam had not only broken and failed, but timing had jumped out of phase. Now that we've taken a look at the history of the Lincoln LS, let's move on and fix that annoying knock under the hood.
Shawn here. We have prepped the work area, got everything out of the way. To get to this point, first thing we did is remove the cold air kit. Then we remove the upper cowl, paneling, wipers, everything out of the way. Remove the power steering reservoir out. We disconnected all the vacuum lines, throttle cable. Also remove the coils. Got some more electrical out of the way. Then we just pulled the valve cover out, and we're now at the point where we can check in and see what's actually going on in this engine. Okay, the reason why we touched into this car is when it was idling especially, it had a massive rattle from the driver's side of the engine. And anyone who knows about these engines knows that the timing chain tensioner is kind of suspect. And if we look in here, we'll see that it's supposed to be all plasticky around it, and it's all gone. It's down to metal, broken, also chains loose. As well as, if you look at the flat on the intake cam, that should mean that the exhaust cam should also be flat, and it's not. So we know because of that, this thing has jumped its timing on the exhaust due to a faulty tensioner. Next step is to pull the cam, reset the timing, and change the tensioner. Okay, we have all the cap off the camshaft so that we have it loose. And once you have it loose, you can just simply lift the camshaft up and rotate and pull your tensioner out the top. But now, while we have everything out, we have to set the timing on that cam. It's a very simple process. To line up the cam, which we expect is one tooth out, it's just a simple matter of lifting the camshaft up to give us some tension in the chain. Then we rotate the cam one tooth and we set it back down in place. You can tell your cam is lined up when the two flats are indexed together, and once you have it lined up, and you can lock it in place with a zip tie. To install the tensioner, you lift the camshaft up out of the way to give yourself room, then you turn the tensioner 90 degrees, feed it down in between, and rotate it down in place. Once you have it set down in place, you install one bolt and take it finger tight, and that is as far as you can go until you install the cap screws on the camshaft, because the pin that sets your tension is blocking one of the bolt holes. The next step is to install the caps for the camshaft. First thing you want to do is put some oil down across the journals to lubricate it before you bolt them in, cinch them down. You'll put the caps in place, get all the bolts started, and then wind them down slowly in an alternating pattern to pull the camshaft down and even. Once you have it down and even, you torque all the bolts to 53 inch-pounds, and once you have them all torqued down in a in and out pattern, you then turn each one 90 degrees for a torque to yield setting. We were going to bolt in and finish tightening up our tensioner as our next step, and we come across a bit of a problem. The body on the new revised tensioner is thinner where it bolts down through than the older plastic tensioner. So we had to come up with a quick solution. A 3mm washer to put over to step it up so we can actually tighten down and lock it in place. But it's very important to use a 3mm because you have to keep some of that shoulder exposed so it'll center the tensioner up. Very important. But a little bit of a spacer, good to go. With the camshaft cap bolts tightened down, we can now pull the pin on the tensioner and install the last bolt and tighten everything down and torque it to spec. Book. Set that down in place. Now you snug it up and then torque them to 97 inch-pounds. With everything torqued down and set to spec, now we just got to snip the zip tie, and then we can put her all back together, start it, and see if she's quiet. Well, not quiet. This thing has good exhaust.
That car sounded great. We're really happy with the outcome. It was a super simple job. Yes, it was in depth and we did have our elbows into the top of that valve cover, but with time and patience, we're able to get this thing back on the road, and the guy who owns it, he's gonna be extra happy. Stay tuned. Next time, we'll show you another video with this car where we clean up the front end a little bit. Thanks for watching. See you later. Like, share, and subscribe.